Let me ask you a question to begin with. What does a growth mindset mean to you? When I did the exercise of answering myself, the first things that popped up were to challenge myself, to have perseverance, to be open-minded and flexible. Well, growth mindset means first and foremost understanding that we can develop our qualities and abilities constantly. Our brain works through the neural network connections that are being established by the thinking process. Those networks of connections allows us to think, but at the same time they become patterns, and in many situations those patterns determine our individual comfort zone. When you struggle, your brain is forced to find ways and opportunities to develop new connections between the different neurons. So actually a physical change occurs in the brain, which allows you to think different and get better results. So why is this important for you as creatives, and how does it help? A growth mindset offers greater engagement in the learning process, greater growth and self-improvement, high performance, higher resilience, as challenges are seen as opportunities to learn, right? And a greater equity, enabling positive and collaborative relationships to be formed. Human beings are creators of routine. Even in the most spontaneous among us stick to a lot of routines and habits in life. For us, it is challenging to try different approaches, which is precisely why we should do it. Switching to a growth mindset radically changes the way we set our goals, perceive our challenges, learn to use feedback and enjoy our success. Challenging yourself can be an enjoyable experience if there is passion in what you do. The positive flow comes from engaging in what you do. Let me give you an overview of a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. Well, let's start with goal. The goal is focused on proving yourself versus, focused on self-improvement. Comfort zone. You stick to your safety zone, or you say, no, but that's a starting point. Effort, a burden versus an experience through practice. How do you deal with challenges? To be avoided or embraced with an open mind? Criticism, how you deal with it? Demoralizing or, uplifting? Setbacks, it's hard to surpass, or you can say, lesson to be learned. How to deal with other successes? Is it competition or a source of inspiration? What about life challenges? Insurmountable, or are there tipping points? What about your own? What about your ego? Self-centered or considerate? You may ask yourself, what is the best way to start working with a growth mindset? Well, in Japan, for instance, they have a nice method called Kaizen. Kaizen is an approach to create conscious development based on the idea that small, ongoing positive changes can reap significant improvements. Typically, it is based on corporation commitment and stands in contrast to approaches that use radical top-down changes to achieve transformation. Just get familiar with the fact that we as humans have a fixed mindset. There will be a struggle to understand it because you can't just banish the fixed mindset of your habits. But as we said earlier, struggle is a good thing as it changes the neural connections in your brain. You have to embark on a journey to change your habits. Anyone can foster a stronger growth mindset, and it always starts with self-awareness. learn more about yourself and your thinking process. The secret is to use connections to build interaction, as energy only exists in a flow. On a personal note, my mindset is constantly wondering how I can become better in what I do. I observe, and absorb the expertise of people I look up to. I follow their teachings, study their work, and embrace the knowledge I get from it or from them. In short, surfing on the waves of wisdom. And nowadays, you have so many opportunities to do that. From reading books, taking online classes, following lectures, browsing the World Wide Web, and so on. I know and I accept and I enjoy this process as a lifetime long journey that will constantly develop my abilities and qualities as it lifts my being up. What I do realize also is that I focused myself for the last years in learning and understanding the language of flowers and how to communicate using this language. I study my medium to understand its full potential and as well as to contain the elements and principles of role design in order to communicate the client's expectations to expressing my creativity. Potential, such a strong word, isn't it? It encompasses the concept that in fact, each of us has unlimited possibilities to become better as long as we have a growth mindset. But this doesn't mean that everybody has the same potential, not at all, as we don't know what anybody's eventual potential is. But the potential of believing that we can improve should be the focus here. Potential is something you build. Potential comes from the belief that you can improve. We believe in the potential each of you to grow, and within EMC we have built and delivered a healthy environment and a strong framework to support the individual growth. Study is all about attitude, knowing, and knowledge. Those three factors are needed to get results, and definitely in this order. So, is a growth mindset all we need? Well, it is indeed a necessity, but it's not enough. You need as well to be in a good mental and physical condition to believe that learning is valuable. You have to be surrounded by an uplifting environment, and you also have to be open and embrace the feedback as an ever-improving tool. A growth mindset is the best beginning of learning. A growth mindset helps to perform better if we want to contribute to the world. At the end, it's about how we perform and implement what we learned. What you do does not define you. You define yourself by what you do. The top part, which is above the water, should be the performance zone, while everything lying underwater is the learning zone. The secret is to oscillate between those two, where the focus is on the performing zone, but the actions and the time investment is in the learning zone. The growth mindset is all about activity, not running away from the problem, but take them as a challenge to process and engage in an active manner. Failing is possible, for sure, but you should regard failure as an opportunity to learn a lesson and rise to the next level. We learn from knowing and experiencing. This is how we first gain knowledge and later, in time, the wisdom. In the learning zone, it is okay to make mistakes, but it should be stretch mistakes. Meaning mistakes you learn from because you are challenging yourselves with the things you haven't mastered yet. Those are the small failures that actually make you move forward. One of my favorite expressions is a mind that is stretched by a new experience can never go back to its old dimensions. From O.W. Holmes. We are longing to become unconscious creative, open-minded and comfortable in making uncomfortable decisions required in the design process. Even mistakes have different nuances, and knowing to approach one is first identifying it. It also helps to improve the learning process. Sloppy mistakes are those we make although we already know what we have to do. They usually occur when not paying attention. Aha moment mistakes are quite self-explanatory. When they occur, we get deep insight into improving. These aha moments are the best way to learn, but they have the tendency to happen unexpectedly, to surprise us. The stretch mistakes are those determined by the fact that we challenge ourselves consciously to try new things. Our focus in the coaching program is to put you in the position of making stretched mistakes, as there you will find the most opportunities to learn. Aha and stretch mistakes offer us infinite insight in learning, and so they can be called the best mistakes to be made. In the growth mindset, we ask you to think of mistakes as learning opportunities, and therefore there is no grading system in place. During this EMC course, while in this intense learning phase, we focus our attention on celebrating the wins of you rather than giving grades. We only point out when you are not ready to go for the advanced course, and we grade that as not yet, and continue to encourage the personal effort. It shows you are not ready and still find yourself in that learning phase of your journey to become that conscious creative. We have to examine the value of our mistakes instead of the outcome itself. We encourage performance through the learning process, not achievement by good grades. In EMC, growth matters, and this is what we encourage you to value too. Teaching you how to approach differently your own design process and become an ever-learning student, self-improving constantly. Finding your own growth potential to bloom and discover what unknown and slumber abilities they have. That's why always ask yourself why. It leads you to reflect about your own actions done without a conscious or within a conscious or unconscious mindset. The power of yet versus the mindset of no is making a huge difference in the growing process and the openness of the journey itself to become better. The art of making stretch mistakes will lead you to the next level of a creative conscience, to be able to go outside your creative box. If we want to go out of this zone, we should approach it from the perspective of absurdness, not relevant, wrong, something that takes us far. We call it a divert information. It takes us to places we don't know, but with a conscious mindset of looking for new ideas. One way of defining creativity is as the action of bringing the unknown to the known world. But going deeper into this subject, the next question appears: is it truly unknown? Our goal is also learning how to learn to become better with focusing on the inside of the creative process to come up with a design. We want to develop motivated and effective lifelong learners as the world is changing so fast that we have to adapt ourselves consciously and not be caught up by life progress itself. The secret is to use connections to build interaction, as energy exists only if there is a flow.